In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, a great power had risen over millions of years. The Galactic Empire, as it was known, spread across thousands of star systems. Its reach was so wide that many of its citizens had never seen the edges of their realm. At the heart of this empire sat the Grand Council. These were the wisest and most powerful beings from across the empire. They met in a grand hall on the capital planet, Zenth. The hall was a marvel of alien architecture, with sweeping arches that seemed to defy gravity and walls that shimmered with colors no human eye had ever seen. Emperor Xalax, a tall, slender being with iridescent skin, sat at the head of the council table. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence as he surveyed the room. Next to him was High Admiral Vorn, a hulking creature with tentacles for arms and a brain visible through its transparent skull. On the other side sat Chief Scientist Elorix, whose body was mostly mechanical, with only a small organic core remaining. "Our empire grows stronger each cycle," Emperor Xalax said, his voice a melodious hum. "But we must not become complacent. What news from the expansion fleets?" High Admiral Vorn's tentacles waved excitedly. "Excellent news, Your Luminescence. Our fleets have charted 57 new star systems in the past cycle. We've found 18 planets suitable for colonization." The council members murmured in approval. Their empire's strength came from its constant growth. New planets meant new resources, new species to add to their collective knowledge, and new defenses against any potential threats. Chief Scientist Elorix's mechanical eyes wavered as they focused. "While the Admiral's news is indeed positive, I must remind the Council of our primary directive. We seek not just expansion, but knowledge. Each new world holds secrets that could elevate our understanding of the universe." Emperor Xalax nodded. "Both of you speak wisdom. Our empire's greatness lies in its balance of power and knowledge. Now tell me of our newest citizens." A holographic display flickered to life in the center of the table. It showed a dozen different alien species, each strange and wonderful in its own way. Some floated in gas clouds, others swam in liquid metals. There were beings made of living crystal and creatures that existed as pure energy. "These are the sentient species we've welcomed into the Empire this cycle," Vorn explained. "All have accepted our offer of protection and technological advancement in exchange for their allegiance." The Council spent hours discussing the integration of these new species. They debated the resources needed to uplift their technology, the cultural exchanges that would enrich both sides, and the potential challenges each species might face in joining the greater galactic community. As the meeting drew to a close, a junior officer burst into the chamber. All 6 of Emperor Xalax's eyes turned to glare at the intruder. "Forgive the interruption, Your Luminescence," the officer said, bowing so low that his forehead touched the floor. "But we've received an urgent communication from the exploration fleet in Sector 9. Xalax waved a slender hand. "Speak." The officer's voice trembled. "They've discovered a new planet, unlike any we've encountered before. The inhabitants, they're advancing at an unprecedented rate." The council chamber erupted in curious whispers. Chief Scientist Elorix leaned forward, his mechanical body whirring. "Explain." "The planet was primitive when first observed, barely beginning to harness electricity," the officer said. "But in just a few of their orbital cycles, they've achieved powered flight, split the atom, and are now taking their first steps into space." A hush fell over the room. Such rapid advancement was unheard of in the history of the Empire. Emperor Xalax's voice was quiet but firm. "Show us." The holographic display changed, now showing a blue and green planet. Clouds swirled in its atmosphere, and the lights of cities could be seen on its night side. Smaller images appeared, showing the inhabitants, bipedal beings with varied skin colors, and a startling array of cultures and technologies. "Fascinating," Elorix muttered. "Their rate of advancement is exponential. If this continues..." High Admiral Vorn's tentacles writhed nervously. "They could be a threat." Emperor Xalax raised a hand for silence. His eyes never left the image of the strange new world. "Perhaps," he said softly, Or perhaps they are the key to the next great leap in our empire's evolution. We must learn more about these humans. The Imperial Discovery vessel Starseeker drifted silently at the edge of a new solar system. Its sleek, silver hull glinted in the light of an unfamiliar yellow star. Captain Zira, a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms, stood on the bridge, her large, compound eyes fixed on the main view screen. "Report," she ordered, her voice a soft whisper that carried across the hushed bridge. Science Officer Kex, a small, furry creature with 6 legs and a long, flexible neck, scurried to her side. "Captain, we've detected 9 planets in this system. But the third one, it's unlike anything we've ever seen." The view screen zoomed in on a blue and green marble suspended in the blackness of space. White clouds swirled across its surface, and vast oceans glittered in the sunlight. "Life signs?" Captain Zira asked, her antennae twitching with excitement. Kex's fur rippled, a sign of his species' enthusiasm. "Abundant, Captain. The planet is teeming with life. But that's not all." He paused, his paws dancing over the control panel. "We're detecting artificial structures and primitive space vessels in orbit." The bridge crew fell silent. Discovering new life was always exciting, but finding a species advanced enough for space travel was rare. "Interesting," Zira mused. "How advanced are they?" Kex's neck coiled as he studied the readings. "It's puzzling, Captain. Their technology seems to be advancing at an alarming rate. Look at these historical scans." The view screen split into multiple images, showing the planet's progression over time. The crew watched in amazement as cities grew, vehicles evolved, and technology advanced at a pace they had never witnessed before. "Impossible," muttered the navigation officer, a crystalline being named Lux. "No species could advance that quickly." Captain Zira's 4 hands clenched and unclenched, a sign of deep thought. "We need to investigate further. Kex, prepare a stealth probe. We need more data on these. What should we call them?" Kex's fur rippled again. "According to intercepted transmissions, they call themselves humans, Captain." "Humans," Zira repeated, testing the unfamiliar word. "Very well. Launch the probe." Hours passed as the crew of the Starseeker watched the data stream in from the probe. They marveled at the diversity of human cultures, the rapid technological advancements, and the sheer tenacity of the species. "They split the atom," Kex reported, his voice filled with awe. "And they're already planning missions to their moon and nearby planets." Captain Zira's antennae twitched nervously. "How long since they discovered electricity?" Kex checked the data. "Less than 200 of their years, Captain." A collective gasp went through the bridge. Such advancement in so short a time was unheard of. "We must report this to the Grand Council immediately," Zira decided. She turned to her communications officer, a being of pure energy contained in a special suit. "Send a priority message to Imperial Command. Mark it urgent." As the crew bustled with activity, Zira couldn't take her eyes off the image of Earth. These humans were fascinating, but also terrifying. Their rapid progress could make them valuable allies, or dangerous enemies. The response from Imperial Command came faster than expected. The view screen flickered, and the stern face of High Admiral Vorn appeared. "Captain Zira." The Admiral's tentacles writhed with agitation. "Your discovery has caused quite a stir. The Grand Council is convening as we speak. You are to maintain your position and continue observations. Under no circumstances are you to make contact with the humans. Is that clear?" "Yes, Admiral," Zira replied, her antennae drooping slightly in disappointment. She had hoped to study the humans up close. As the transmission ended, Zira turned back to the image of Earth. The blue planet continued its serene rotation, unaware of the alien eyes watching it, unaware of the storm it had created in the highest levels of the Galactic Empire. "What makes you so special?" Zira whispered to herself, her compound eyes reflecting the image of Earth. "And what will you become?" As the Starseeker continued its silent vigil, The crew couldn't shake the feeling that they were witnessing the beginning of something momentous. The discovery of Earth and its rapidly advancing human inhabitants would change the course of galactic history. They just didn't know how yet. In the dimly lit observation deck of the Starseeker, Chief Scientist Elorix's mechanical body whirred softly as he processed the flood of data streaming in from Earth. His organic core, a small, pulsating mass of neural tissue, glowed faintly with excitement. "Fascinating," he muttered, his voice a blend of organic warmth and synthetic precision. "Simply fascinating." Captain Zira stood beside him, her forearms clasped behind her back. "What have you found, Chief Scientist?" Elorix's mechanical eyes focused and refocused rapidly. "These humans, Captain, they're remarkable. Their physiology is simple, almost primitive by our standards. Yet their minds—" He paused, searching for the right words. "Their minds are extraordinary." The view screen before them displayed a dizzying array of human achievements. Soaring skyscrapers, supersonic aircraft, computers shrinking from room-sized behemoths to handheld devices in mere decades. "Look at this," Elorix continued, his mechanical limbs gesturing excitedly. "They've had powered flight for less than 2 centuries, and they're already planning missions to other planets in their system." Zira's antennae twitched with a mixture of admiration and concern. "How is this possible? No species we've encountered has ever progressed so rapidly." Elorix's organic core pulsed brighter. "It's their adaptability, Captain. Their brains form new neural connections at an astonishing rate. They learn, they innovate, they overcome obstacles with a speed that defies our understanding." The view screen shifted, showing scenes from human history. Wars, natural disasters, plagues, and each time, humans rising from the ashes, stronger and more advanced than before. "They're survivors," Zira observed, "but also destructive." Elorix nodded, his mechanical head bobbing. "Yes, that's the puzzle. They're capable of great violence, even against their own kind. Yet this conflict seems to drive their progress. War has led to some of their greatest technological leaps." As they watched, the images on screen showed humans splitting the atom, harnessing its power for destruction, then turning that same power to light their cities. "They're standing at a crossroads," Elorix mused. "Their technology is advancing faster than their wisdom. It could lead to their doom, or propel them to the stars." Zira's compound eyes reflected the changing images. "And if they reach the stars, what then?" Before Elorix could answer, an alarm blared through the ship. Kex's voice came over the intercom, high-pitched with excitement. "Captain, to the bridge. The humans. They've launched something new." Zira and Elorix rushed to the bridge, joining the rest of the senior crew. On the main view screen, they watched as a sleek, experimental craft rose from Earth's atmosphere. "What is it?" Zira demanded. Kex's fur was standing on end. "It appears to be a prototype faster than light drive, Captain. They're attempting their first FTL flight." The bridge fell silent. Faster than light travel was the key to interstellar civilization. If humans had cracked this technology so soon, they watched with bated breath as the human ship accelerated. For a moment, it seemed to stretch, elongate, and then it was gone, vanished into the depths of space. "Impossible." Lux, the crystalline navigation officer, chimed. "They can't have perfected FTL travel already. It took our civilization millennia." But seconds later, the human ship reappeared, a short distance from where it had vanished. Cheers could be heard over the intercepted transmissions from Earth. Captain Zira's antennae drooped. "This changes everything," she said softly. "Elorix, prepare a full report for the Grand Council. Kex, monitor all human communications. I want to know their plans, their dreams, their fears. Lux, plot potential expansion routes they might take." As the crew scrambled to obey, Zira turned back to the image of Earth. The blue planet now seemed less serene, more ominous. These humans, with their rapid advancement and warlike tendencies, could upset the delicate balance of the galaxy. "What are you?" she whispered to the image of Earth. "A new hope for the galaxy, or its greatest threat." In the vast emptiness of space, the Starseeker continued its vigil, watching as humanity took its first steps into a larger universe. The Galactic Empire had discovered a new species, but they had also stumbled upon a mystery, and potentially a danger, unlike any they had encountered before. The age of humanity was dawning, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council on Zenth was abuzz with nervous energy. Emperor Xalax sat at the head of the table, his iridescent skin shifting colors rapidly, a sign of deep concern. Around him, representatives from 100 different species argued in a cacophony of sounds, lights, and telepathic broadcasts. Silence. Xalax's voice cut through the noise, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. The room fell quiet. "We have delayed long enough. The humans have achieved faster than light travel. We must make contact." High Admiral Vorn's tentacles writhed anxiously. "Your luminescence, is that wise? These humans are unpredictable, potentially dangerous." Chief Scientist Elorix's mechanical body whirred as he spoke. "With respect, Admiral, we have no choice. Our long-range scans show they are already exploring nearby star systems. It's only a matter of time before they encounter one of our colonies." Emperor Xalax nodded. "Elorix is correct. We must control the narrative. Prepare a diplomatic vessel. We will meet these humans on neutral ground." In Earth's orbit, the United Earth Space Command was in an uproar. Admiral Sarah Chen stared at the view screen, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Confirm that reading," she ordered, her voice steady despite her shock. Lieutenant Rodriguez's fingers flew over his console. "Confirmed, Admiral. A ship of unknown origin has appeared at the edge of our solar system. It's huge." Chen took a deep breath. This was the moment humanity had both dreamed of and feared. "Send the first contact package. All frequencies, all languages." As humanity held its collective breath, the alien ship responded. A message appeared on screens worldwide. "Greetings, people of Earth. We come in peace." On the neutral meeting ground of Earth's moon, 2 groups faced each other in a hastily constructed, pressurized dome. On one side stood Emperor Xalax, flanked by Vorn, Elorix, and Captain Zira. On the other, Admiral Chen led a diverse group of Earth's leaders. For a long moment, both sides simply stared, taking in the alien forms before them. The humans marveled at Xalax's iridescent skin, Vorn's writhing tentacles, Elorix's mechanical body, and Zira's 4 arms and compound eyes. The Imperial delegation was equally fascinated by the humans' variety in appearance and the intensity of their gazes. Emperor Xalax stepped forward, his translator device humming. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Emperor Xalax of the Galactic Empire. We have watched your remarkable progress with great interest." Admiral Chen, overcoming her awe, responded. "Welcome to our solar system, Emperor Xalax. I am Admiral Sarah Chen, representing the United Earth Government. We are honored to make your acquaintance." As the formal introductions continued, both sides relaxed slightly. The humans were relieved that the aliens seemed peaceful, while the Imperial delegation was impressed by the humans' composure. However, as discussions progressed, misunderstandings began to arise. When Emperor Xalax mentioned the Empire's policy of uplifting and integrating new species, Admiral Chen's eyes narrowed. "Integrate?" she asked, her voice cautious. "What exactly do you mean by that?" Xalax's skin rippled with confusion. "Why, to bring you into our empire, of course. To share our knowledge, our resources, to protect you." A murmur ran through the human delegation. Protection implied vulnerability. Integration suggested loss of autonomy. These were concepts humanity had long struggled against. "With all due respect, Emperor," Chen replied, her tone firm, "Earth is not looking to be integrated or protected. We're eager to learn and trade, but we value our independence. Now it was the Imperial delegation's turn to be confused. Vorn's tentacles writhed agitatedly. Independence. But surely you understand the dangers of the galaxy, the benefits our empire could provide. The atmosphere in the dome grew tense. Centuries of human history, filled with struggles against colonialism and oppression, weighed heavily on the Earth delegation. The Empire's offer, no matter how well-intentioned, sounded too much like subjugation. Orcs, sensing the shifting mood, attempted to mediate. Perhaps we have misunderstood each other. Our intention is not to conquer, but to welcome. But the damage was done. The humans' expressions had hardened, their postures becoming defensive. The Imperial delegation, unused to rejection, grew increasingly flustered. As the meeting concluded, both sides retreated to their respective ships, the initial excitement of first contact overshadowed by a growing sense of unease. The gap between human and Imperial perspectives seemed vast, and neither side was sure how to bridge it. In the silence of space, two civilizations contemplated their next moves, each wondering if they had just met new friends or future foes. In the days following the first contact, both humanity and a galactic empire found themselves on edge. The initial excitement of meeting alien life had given way to suspicion and fear on both sides. On Earth, governments scrambled to respond to this new reality. In an emergency session of the United Nations, world leaders debated their next steps. "We cannot trust these aliens," the Russian representative argued, his face stern. "Their talk of integration is nothing more than colonialism on a galactic scale." The Chinese delegate nodded in agreement. "We must protect our sovereignty at all costs. Humanity has fought too hard for its freedom to give it up now." Admiral Sarah Chen, standing at the podium, raised her hands for silence. "I understand your concerns," she said, her voice calm but firm. "But we must not act rashly. The Empire's technology is far beyond ours. A conflict could be disastrous. So we should just roll over." The American representative challenged. "We've faced overwhelming odds before and prevailed." As the debate raged on, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to understand and replicate the Empire's advanced technology. Military leaders drew up defense plans, preparing for the worst. Meanwhile, aboard the Imperial flagship, Emperor Xalax faced a crisis of his own. The Grand Council, connected via hologram, demanded answers. "This is unprecedented," a counselor from a gaseous species hissed. "No race has ever refused our offer of integration." High Admiral Vorn's tentacles twisted anxiously. "These humans are dangerous, your luminescence. Their history is filled with conflict. They've developed weapons that could destroy their own planet." Emperor Xalax's skin flickered with concern. "But they've also shown remarkable resilience and creativity. Think of what they could contribute to the Empire if they joined willingly." Chief Scientist Elorix's mechanical eyes wavered as he processed the data. "The humans' rate of technological advancement is accelerating. Our simulations show they could match our level within a few of their generations." A murmur of alarm ran through the council. The idea of such rapid progress was terrifying to a civilization that measured change in millennia. "We cannot allow this," Vorn insisted. "We must act now, while we still have the advantage." Emperor Xalax's 6 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought. "No," he said finally, "we will not attack. But we must prepare for all possibilities." As both sides geared up for potential conflict, misunderstandings and missteps multiplied. A human research vessel, venturing too close to an Imperial outpost, was forcibly turned away, leading to outrage on Earth. The Empire's attempts to establish a base on Mars were met with fierce opposition from human governments. Tensions reached a boiling point when a group of human hackers managed to breach the Empire's communication network. The Empire saw it as an act of aggression, while humans celebrated it as a victory for their independence. In response, the Empire imposed a blockade around Earth's solar system. "For your own protection," they claimed, but to humans, It felt like the first step towards invasion. As warships gathered on both sides, Admiral Chen found herself in a tense video call with Emperor Xalax. "Your actions leave us no choice but to defend ourselves," Chen said, her voice steely. Xalax's skin rippled with frustration. "You misunderstand our intentions. We only wish to welcome you into the galactic community." "On your terms," Chen retorted. "Humanity will forge its own path among the stars." As the call ended, both leaders felt the weight of impending conflict. Neither wanted war, but neither saw a way to avoid it. On Earth, factories retooled to produce weapons and spacecraft. The Empire mobilized its vast fleets. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen when humanity's fierce independence collided with the Empire's ancient order. In the vast darkness of space, two civilizations stood on the brink of a war that could reshape the galaxy. The humans, young and aggressive, ready to fight for their freedom. The Empire, ancient and powerful, determined to maintain its control. The stage was set for a conflict unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The Imperial Palace on Zenth was in chaos. Alarms blared, and beings of all shapes and sizes rushed through the corridors. In the Grand Council chamber, Emperor Xalax sat motionless, his iridescent skin a dull gray. Around him, the councilors argued fiercely. "The humans have breached our defenses in 3 more systems." High Admiral Vorn's tentacles lashed out in frustration. "Their ships are faster, their weapons more powerful than anything we've seen." Chief Scientist Elorix's mechanical body sparked with agitation. "It's impossible. They've advanced centuries in mere months. Our best minds can't keep up with their innovations." A holographic display in the center of the room showed the progress of the human fleet. System after system fell to the relentless human advance. The Empire's forces, once thought invincible, crumbled before this new threat. Emperor Xalax finally stirred. "How?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "How did we not see this coming?" Captain Zira, newly promoted to the council for her expertise on humans, stepped forward. "We underestimated them, your luminescence. Their adaptability, their drive. It's beyond anything in our experience. They're not just fighting our ships, they're outthinking us at every turn." The room fell silent as the impact of her words sunk in. The Galactic Empire, which had stood for millions of years, was facing an enemy it couldn't defeat. "What are our allies?" a counselor asked. "Surely the other races will stand with us against this human threat." High Admiral Vorn's response was grim. "Many are already suing for peace with the humans. Others are watching, waiting to see which side will triumph." As if to punctuate his words, another alarm sounded. A junior officer rushed in, his exoskeleton clicking nervously. "Your luminescence, we've lost contact with the Gorlan sector. The humans. They've developed a way to disrupt our faster-than-light communications." The news hit like a physical blow. Without FTL communications, coordinating the Empire's vast forces would be impossible. Emperor Xalax rose slowly, his 6 eyes scanning the room. "We've faced challenges before," he said, his voice gaining strength. "We will overcome this one as well. We must strike back with everything we have." But Captain Zira shook her head. "With respect, your luminescence, that would be suicide. The humans aren't just defeating us. They're learning from every encounter. The more we fight, the stronger they become." Chief Scientist Elorix nodded, his mechanical eyes whirring as he processed the data. "Captain Zira is correct. Our projections show that at the current rate, the humans will overrun our core worlds within a standard year." The silence that followed was deafening. The counselors looked at each other in disbelief. The concept of defeat was alien to them. Finally, an elder counselor spoke up, her voice wavering. "Then, what do we do?" Emperor Xalax's skin rippled with a mix of emotions. Fear, anger, and finally, resignation. "We do the only thing we can do," he said softly. "We run." The words hung in the air, unthinkable yet unavoidable. "Evacuate our people." Xalax continued, his voice gaining resolve. Gather what technology and knowledge we can. We'll flee to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, beyond the human's reach. And then, High Admiral Vorn asked, then we wait. We watch. We learn. Zelax's eyes blinked in sequence. Perhaps in time, we can return. Or perhaps we'll find a new home, far from these aggressive humans. As the Council scrambled to enact the Emperor's orders, alarms continued to sound. On the holographic display, more Imperial systems blinked out, overwhelmed by the human advance. In the spaceports of 1,000 worlds, Imperial citizens rushed to board evacuation ships. Libraries were downloaded, artifacts were packed, and tearful goodbyes were said to ancestral homes. The great Galactic Empire, which had stood proudly for millions of years, was running from a species it had discovered mere months ago. As the Imperial fleet prepared for its long journey into the unknown, Emperor Xalax took one last look at the map of his crumbling empire. Farewell, he whispered, to the worlds he had ruled and to the unstoppable force that was humanity. The age of the Galactic Empire was over. The age of humanity had begun. A decade had passed since the great retreat of the Galactic Empire. The galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. Humanity, once confined to a single planet, now sprawled across thousands of star systems. On Earth, now the capital of the newly formed Human Galactic Federation, Admiral Sarah Chen stood before a massive window in the Federation Tower. She gazed out at the bustling spaceport, where ships of all sizes came and went, carrying humans and alien allies to distant worlds. Admiral, a voice called. Chen turned to see her aide, a young lieutenant named Raj, approaching with a holographic tablet. The latest reports from the expansion fleet. Chen took the tablet, her eyes scanning the information quickly. Another dozen systems mapped and ready for colonization, she murmured. And still no sign of the Empire. Raj shook his head. No, Admiral. It's as if they vanished into thin air. Chen sighed, remembering the frantic last days of the war, if it could even be called that. The Empire's retreat had been so sudden, so complete, that many humans still had trouble believing it had happened. Across the room, a communication panel chimed. Admiral, a voice announced, the Galactic Council is assembling for the annual meeting. Thank you, Chen replied. I'll be right there. As she made her way to the council chambers, Chen marveled at how quickly humanity had adapted to its new role. The technological leaps they had made in reverse engineering Imperial tech were staggering. Faster-than-light travel was now commonplace, and human scientists were making breakthroughs in fields the Empire had thought impossible. The council chamber was a marvel of architecture, blending human design with alien aesthetics. Around a circular table sat representatives from Earth and its colonies, alongside delegates from the various alien races that had allied with humanity after the Empire's retreat. Welcome, friends, Chen began as she took her seat. Let's begin with the status reports. One by one, the delegates shared their news. Human colonies were thriving. Trade with alien allies was booming. Exploration ships were pushing further into uncharted space every day. But there was an undercurrent of unease in the room. Finally, Zork, a representative from a silicon-based species, spoke up. And what of the Empire? Are we certain they pose no further threat? A murmur ran through the chamber. It was the question on everyone's mind. But few dared to ask it openly. Chen leaned forward. Our long-range scouts have found no trace of Imperial activity in any of the sectors we've explored. It seems they've retreated beyond the reaches of our current technology. But for how long? Another delegate asked. What if they return, stronger than before? Chen's face hardened. Then we'll be ready. Our defense forces grow stronger every day. We've learned from the Empire's mistakes. We won't underestimate any potential threat. The meeting continued, discussing plans for further expansion, research initiatives, and diplomatic efforts with newly discovered species. But Chen's mind kept returning to the Empire. After the council adjourned, Chen found herself back at the window, staring out at the stars. She thought of Emperor Ctalax and wondered where he and his people were now. Were they rebuilding their strength in some distant corner of the galaxy, or had they found a new home, far from the species that had so thoroughly upended their order? "You look troubled, Admiral," a voice said. Chen turned to see Dr. Elon Wong, Earth's leading xenoanthropologist, approaching. "Just thinking about the Empire," Chen admitted. "I can't help but wonder if we'll see them again." Dr. Wong nodded thoughtfully. "History is full of fallen empires, Admiral. Some fade away, others reinvent themselves. Only time will tell which path the Galactic Empire will choose." "And what about us?" Chen asked. "What path will humanity choose?" Wong smiled. "That, Admiral, is the most exciting question of all. We stand at the dawn of a new era. The galaxy is open to us in a way it never has been before. The choices we make now will shape the future of not just humanity, but all sentient life." As night fell over Earth, lights from countless starships twinkled in the sky. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, facing an uncertain but thrilling future. The age of the Galactic Empire was over, but the story of life in the galaxy was far from finished. In the vast expanse of space, countless adventures awaited, and humanity was ready to meet them head-on.